Are we gonna get one tonight, boys?
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Goldstein, Stickers of the C.A.N Report, Nozzle Tov, everybody. I have a good, great friend, my brother, Eric Wuensch, on the show this evening. And I am so excited. We finally got our schedules synced up and we got this going. Eric, thank you so much for coming back on the C.A.N Report.
Absolutely, man. Happy to be here. Grateful for the opportunity. It's good to see your face.
Dude, it's always great seeing your face, my man. I love seeing you, love talking with you. I love watching what you're doing. I know this is why I wanted you on, because you've had a lot of updates in your life. You've been doing great things and you have a lot of stuff to talk about, and just who you are. I love talking with you, and I want to make sure people know who you are and what you're doing. So before we get into this, I just want to give a shout out to my sponsors. We have Engine House Designs out of Memphis, Tennessee. My man, Cody Hill, always rocking it, always doing great things in the world. He makes hats, he makes flags, he makes stickers, shirts. You want it, he's got it. He can do it for you. So make sure you're reaching out to Engine House Designs, LLC, and he can get you started. Engine House Designs is igniting the pride. Also, my other sponsor, Industrial Protection Services out of Salem, New Hampshire. They provide services for your air packs. They provide testing and making sure that they can hydro test those as well. They've got a whole plethora of services. If you need extrication tools, if you need nozzles, hoses, they got it. You need it. They are in the New Hampshire area. So please check out Industrial Protection Services as well. So with that being said, man, that's it. We're going to start the show. So I'm just going to get into your bio real quick. We have a really long one for Eric here. He's made a very, very long, difficult bio for me to read. So Eric Wuensch is a Christ follower, husband, girl dad, and fireman. 8 years total fire experience, a dadgum cadre member, Teaks Advanced Engine Ops cadre member, State of Texas Medal of Valor recipient. And that's it. That's all he's got for me. So, man, thank you so much, Eric. I'm so happy to be talking to you tonight.
I'm happy to be here, man. Love it.
Dude, what is up, man? It's been what, almost 2 years, I think, the last time we had you on the show.
Yeah, man. Almost 2 years. I guess the biggest change for me since the last time I talked to you, I have made the switch to a different department. And I know that's, something that you've touched on before, and everything that you kind of talked about through your experience it helped me a lot, man, as I was making that change. Because, I kind of realized that even when it's something that you want to do, like I knew that I wanted to change departments. It was still nerve-wracking. It was uncomfortable. I knew that I wanted to change departments. I selected a department, Cibolo Fire Department, right outside of San Antonio. And there were, several things about that department that really caught my eye and have stuck out to me for quite some time. But at my previous department, and I'm not here to bash my old department at all. It just, for me at the time in my career and for my family, it just wasn't where I needed to be, and I knew that. But it was still hard, man, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to sit here and talk to you about it, because I know that there are other people out here who are going through the same thing, where it's time for you to go, but to move departments is intimidating. Like, am I going to like my new crew that I get put with? Are they going to like me? Is the grass really greener over there? Am I going to regret this? Is this really going to be better for my family? But
I laugh because this literally is the same things that I had dealt with when I was going forward and changing departments. It was
Yeah.
literally the same thing running through my head. Oh my God, what if I don't like them? What if they don't like me? If I don't like it, there's no going back. Like I can't go to
Right.
that previous department because I hated it there and they hated me,
Hmm.
and like, what do I do? Like, what do I change careers? Like, how do I live? Like, you know, all
Right.
those things run through your head. And, but for you, did you change departments? You don't have to say if you don't want to, but did you change departments because of a personality issue, like a leadership issue, or was it mainly because you needed a better financial situation?
So that's something that's actually maybe a little bit unique to my situation. I actually I took a pay cut.
Hmm.
Um, it was not the financial end of things was not that drove me to leave. Um, and it wasn't even necessarily a personnel issue. Um, but my old department was in a phase of, uh, my old department was, there were great people there. Um, I had a great relationship with my old chief, from the get go. He really showed me a lot of respect. I had respect for him. We worked well together, but the I guess the culture, which, I mean, I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but the culture of that department was different than what I felt I needed for my professional development, my personal growth, and for my family. My family did not grow with me being in the fire service. I joined the fire service a little bit late, so my daughters have not always known me as a fireman. My wife has not always known me as a fireman. So that transition from dad, the custom home builder, to dad, the fireman, was huge for
Hmm.
all of us. And we just, we, we as a family kind of got to the point where, um, we needed some additional support in that aspect of things from the people that I worked with. And in addition to that, I I knew several guys at Cibolo, and they were all guys that I respect and that I aspire to be like as a
Hmm.
fireman, as dads, as a man.
Yeah.
And I just knew that if I could if I could make that transition and get into a department like that, it would make it would make things easier for my family.
But
Um,
so tell me about you say you mentioned the culture, because some people have different versions of everything, right? There's always the different versions of cultures and standards. So for you, was it a different mindset? Were they not training enough for you? Were they not working out enough for you? Was there not enough of a brotherhood, if you will, of not doing things enough together? Because everyone has their own little different reasons and things they get hooked on, right? There's people out there who go, man, these guys, they're not into it like I'm into it. I get so frustrated because they're not doing all the things that I want to do. Or, we don't do enough together as a family. Or,
sure.
I'm not getting paid enough. Or my chief sucks. Like there's all these little different topics inside the culture.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
So for me personally, it was more of the outside training aspect. Um, a lot of what I experienced at my old department was we. I feel like we did a relatively good job, at training while we were at work. But going to outside trainings, to conferences, was not uh, really prioritized, I guess, from the top down. And that's not at all to say that I wasn't given the opportunities, because I was, and I'm very grateful for that. I was allowed to do those things really early on in my career, but a lot of the training and the mindset was kind of just like, well, we'll just work on what we need to work on here at this house, and that's all we need to know. So there wasn't a whole lot of external influences to, in my opinion, to like, figure out how can we do this job better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like hose and nozzle packages, uh, different types of RIT bags, all of these little things that are out there that if you don't go out and look for them, you're never going to get exposed to them. And you're really just relying on your successes and failures on the calls to make yourself better. And while those are good, I believe that it takes a department who is looking for that external help,
Yeah.
and that kind of drive to go out and search for things that will make us better firemen, that will make us a better fire department. What are people on the East Coast doing? What are people on the West Coast doing?
Yeah.
What can we take from them and apply to our department to be stronger and to better
It's the
serve the
way
people
we've
that we
always done it
serve?
mentality.
Right. And that kind of hits the nail on the head right there.
Yeah.
And a little bit of that'll never happen here because it was a small town Texas, not a huge population, but we experienced our fair share of those high acuity calls that, thank God nothing bad happened, but they very well
Yeah.
could have.
Well, it's
So
that's whole thing too, is if it ain't broke, why fix it kind of thing. Like, well,
right,
you said, we've never had the issue before, so why do we need to bother looking at anything different? But
right,
again, that's when your trainings become stagnant and your tactics become stagnant, and you're always going to need a plan B or a plan C. And if your
yeah,
A is 50 years old, just because you never had that call before, now it doesn't work
yeah,
anymore because conditions have changed, and
exactly,
whether it's fires or tech rescue, things change. You can't just, look at tech rescue for just get on that real quick. I mean, the devices we have now, we don't have to use ropes to make prusik knots anymore, right? We've
right,
got devices that can lock. So all of that has changed. And if you
yeah,
stay with, I'm still going to use my rope as a prusik, and I'm not going to use these devices because, I don't like technology. But I can see where you're going with it. Like it's definitely becomes like, have I outgrown my department now? And it's not a bad way to honestly feel that way. And I think we tend to feel guilty for having those feelings of,
yes,
have I outgrown? Oh my God, do I have an ego? Am I now one of those people where I feel like I'm too big for my department now because I go to all these trainings?
mhm,
And that's a tough part too, because we get a mindset because you go when you start going to these outside trainings and you bring back stuff, but you also now bringing back a lot different energy and passion, and you've
yep,
seen the other side of the world, and you're seeing all these new things, and you go, I want to do this, and your department's like, no, we're
yeah,
not going to do
and
that because it's not the way we operate here. But those are
yeah,
important questions, so to ask why, because that's the biggest thing for me is I love to ask the why. Why can't we do it? Is it
mhm,
because it doesn't work for our district, or is it that you're refusing to actually look outside the box?
yeah, yeah, and you know, I guess kind of to circle back, that was my biggest like personal reason for wanting to leave, and I kind of had that feeling for a year and a half, um, and at first I went out and I tested with a different department. I made it through the process. I got offered the job, and when I was 10 days out, I started getting kind of this heavy feeling of, man, am I leaving too early? Have I given this department my best shot?
Mm,
Like I didn't want to I didn't want to leave and feel like I took an easy way out, right? Like I'm gonna leave this department because they're going through growing pains, and I'm gonna go into a department that's already got it figured out, that's already established. Um,
Did you rescind
and
did you rescind that one? Did you
I did,
drop out? Yeah. Yeah.
I did, and
Yeah.
in hindsight, they're like that me turning down that job was 100% a God thing.
Mm-hmm.
And had I taken that job, things would have been really kind of weird for me. But all that to say, I kept finding reasons to not leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally kind of realized that it was just my own insecurities that were keeping me there. And it was just time to go. And I I really saw that my wife and my daughters, they needed me to be a part of a department that really brought family into the firehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And again, going back to the guys that I knew at Cibolo, I was able to talk to them about it, and every single one of them was like, "Man, like family's huge. We have family dinners. Our crews hang out outside of work. Blah blah blah." And that kind of just further validated to me, you know, it's time to go because I have my reasons for me and I have my reasons for my family. And man, when I finally made that jump, and I mean, dude, I was a nervous wreck all the way up until I got
Oh
my
yeah.
official letter.
Did you make
Because
like a pros and cons chart? Because that's what I did.
oh, for sure,
I had a line drawn. I'm listing out pros and I'm listing out cons. And even
yep,
though like for me in my situation, there was a hell of a lot more cons, but I still just that I had that ingrained in me that I'm a quitter or that I'm betraying my department or
hmm
and then those were some of my pros, my cons in there. Am I a quitter? Am I abandoning my crew? And
yep,
yeah, it's that fear, dude. Like, oh, am I gonna miss out on cool runs? Am I gonna miss out on the new truck? Am I gonna miss out on promotion? And
yep,
dude, it's crazy. With no
and
one's ever been in these situations, it plays in your head over and over and over again.
yeah, and it's crazy what our minds will make us believe just to stay comfortable, right? Like I knew my routine at my old department.
Hmm.
I knew the routines of the people I worked with. I knew my chief and what he liked, what he didn't like. It was comfortable. So like my brain would, kind of drop these little seeds of doubt so that I would choose the comfort and not go out on that limb and do what I knew I needed to do.
Yeah,
Um, but well, like I said, I was nervous wreck all the way through the thing. Um, but man, when I finally walked in to the doors on my first shift, it was like it
that's
was
where you
all
need to
good.
be.
You
Well,
know,
question for you, but to back up real quick, when were you very reluctant to give your notice? And was it because of the disappointment that you were going to get from your chief? Because for me, I was scared shitless to give my resignation. Mainly because it wasn't because, man, I disappointed him or because, they're going to miss me and love me so much and make it difficult. It was the exact reverse. It was going to be met with anger and disdain and threats.
yeah,
What was it? Did you, when you delivered the news, was it like, hey, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. You're welcome back here anytime? Because I love it when places do that. I love it when places like, we are going to miss you incredibly. And just so you know, you always have a home with us if you ever want to come back. That speaks volumes for your administration and your department.
yeah, no, for sure. I, I was nervous without a doubt. And I went back and forth for a long time on if I was going to even tell my chief, um, you know, until I had a concrete like job offer,
Mm-hmm.
or was I going to roll the dice and give him a heads up, like, hey, chief, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm putting in for this process. Um, I'll keep you updated, type of thing, because then you run the risk of you start getting mistreated, or if you have that fear of like, well, if I don't get the job, then I stay here
Mm-hmm.
and this department's going to be done investing in me because I've shown them that I'm looking to go elsewhere, and then I'm going to be even more miserable.
Yeah, because some departments take that as, again, as betrayal, that you're a traitor, and that that you're hightailing it out of here, and you start getting mistreated or judged. And again, it's really is the caliber of the department and then the administration. It really comes down to that. When if you have a really good employee that's leaving because of whatever, you can't take it as a personal insult.
Right.
But really, though, as a chief and those senior ranking officers, you really start to have to think about, why are we leaving? Why is this high performer leaving our department? We can't afford to have more people like him leave. So those are the things where they really should have that discussion. And I would hope that, like in your situation, because it didn't happen with me. So I would hope in this situation that they would sit down and go, what is it? Like, what are we missing here? Because that's what really, if the departments are looking for recruitment and retainment, specifically retainment, that they really need to have those hard talks and ask
and the
self-reflection. Yeah, and self-reflection. Like, are we as good as we think we are? Like, why are people leaving? Especially the guys that we really want here, the ones that we would brag about to our people and go, hey, yeah, Eric is that. You see that dude? He's a freaking tank, and he can do the job. I don't have to worry about him. Like, those are the people you don't want to lose, and so you have to start having those reflections and go, why are they leaving? Why is it financial? Because like some things you can't help. Financially, you can't help. As much as they want to. You have those bosses that do really good. Like, hey, man, I want you to stay, but I understand you have a family you need to support, and we can't give you that money, and we're so sorry. Like, those are really cool conversations. It's the ones who go, well, thanks anyways. See you later. Those are the ones that don't give a shit. Like, those are that's a good thing you're leaving, but it just sucks that we feel so obligated to stay and so scared to let them know that we're actually looking for other avenues because we're afraid of getting mistreated, judged, or pretty much being shunned from now that family that we had for so many years.
Yeah. And I mean, Mike, I'll tell you, I decided to go ahead and tell my chief, like, the day I put my application in. Because again, personally, I had a really good relationship with him.
That's awesome.
The assistant chief that we had at my old department had just been brought into that position maybe a month or two before I decided to leave. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, like, that guy, he couldn't stand me. He could not stand me. But my concern was with my chief, because he was the one that had provided me with these opportunities, and he was always straightforward with me and supportive. So I decided to let him know and kept him updated throughout the process. And when I went in and talked to him, he was not angry. I didn't really get the "you're always welcome back" thing that you referenced, and I think some of that had to do with the fact that the assistant chief there, he and I just did not see eye to eye, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. But he was very supportive of me, and made me feel like, even though I was making that decision, he was still very appreciative of me, and he made me feel like my time there was valued and appreciated. And that definitely made that kind of waiting period of the hiring process a little bit easier for me.
Sure.
Because as I was going through the hiring process, I struggled a lot with, like, self-doubt, and like, there's no way that I'm gonna get selected. I think there were like 28 people or something in my hiring process, and I was like, there's no way, because there were some killers in my process that I went through, and so that self-doubt was kind of chipping away at me. But knowing that I had the support of not only my chief but my crew at the time that I was leaving, they were all super, super supportive. and that was very helpful.
That's awesome.
Um, but all of those things that I was worrying about before going in and having that conversation, uh, 99% of them didn't happen.
Yeah,
Again, that
of
was
course,
all
because
my,
yeah,
it was my own mind wanting me to stay in that comfort zone, and like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is comfortable. This is
yeah,
this is the easier way. Um, so yeah, I really think that whole process for me was fortunately uh, a good one.
that's
A
awesome.
good
So
one.
now you obviously got into Cibolo, and um, you said like when you walked in, you knew you were in the right place.
Yep.
What was that? How? What made you feel that way? Why did you feel like you were in the right where you're supposed to be?
Um, I mean, within the first probably 30 minutes of me being there, I, spent those first couple hours of shift with my driver, my engineer. Um, his name's Ben Velez, and Ben is, I mean, he's been to multiple Dagum conferences. He's been to one bad tour. Like, this dude's, he's a hard charger. He's a super genuine guy, um, very hardworking. And when I came in as the new guy, um, man, he didn't make me feel like the new guy, and he was excited to have another person on his crew or on his team that he knew that he'd be able to count on to go out and work out with him, go out and train with him, uh, put in that extra work to make sure that we're effective and efficient on the fire ground. And I, because of that, he just immediately started pouring into me, and, making sure that every time we went and visited another one of our stations, he was putting me in front of everybody's face, introducing me, showing me, the little ins and outs of life at that house.
Right.
And um, the the kind of the big picture that he painted for me as on my first day was just checking those boxes, that I like off of my pro list, off my pro and cons list on that
Sure.
pro column. It's like, yep, 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 yep. Um, so I really lucked out having Benny V as my driver, um, on those first couple days, just to, kind of validate for me, like, hey, I know that was probably tough moving departments, and now you're a probie, and, you've got this task book that you've got, to knock out, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to help you. Everyone else is going to help you. We want you to be a part of the team, and we're going to be the best that we can be.
Yeah.
And I know that kind of sounds all cliche, but like, that was my experience, man. And um, again, outside of that, I I have other guys there that I had met through trainings and through the Dagon cadre that all worked there. And man, within my first 2 weeks, I was just overwhelmed with the quantity of the quality firefighters that we had there. And you know, our department isn't, just running fires every tour and, just burning it down left and right. But I can confidently say that when those fires come, when those high acuity calls come, we've done our training, and we're going to perform the best that we can. And that brings me comfort. And I know
Mhm.
that brings my wife comfort and my daughter's comfort, um, because they too were brought in to that family very early on, and they were able to see, okay, when dad goes to work, he's with Jacob, he's with Mr. Beck, he's with Mr. Miles. Like, they're going to be good. He's going to be good. Those guys are going to take care of him. Dad's going to take care of them. And it was just it was a very relieving transition for us all.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Because you already had that box, that big box checked off that you mentioned earlier, is you wanted to be with like-minded individuals. People had the
Yep.
same mindset, and that was one of your big things is trainings, is outside trainings. And you already walked in knowing, like you said, the majority of them, like we got Tom Hollick, who's one of your chiefs.
Yeah.
You know that he's not just about working out and going to trainings, but you know that he's also a solid human, that
Yeah.
he is a man of faith, and he's a man that is going to take care of you and love you and treat you as one of his own.
Hmm.
And I mean, you have, like you said, you have the majority of other guys you work with. You already know them through those trainings, and you've talked with them and worked with them. So it's such a mindset of relieving yourself of that worry of not having to worry about if they're gonna like me. Am I gonna fit in? Like you already know the players in that group.
Yeah.
That pays dividends for sure. And I had that same experience going into my department I'm on now. When I walked through those doors, it was the same thing. Hey man, we know that you're older now. We know that you come with experience and knowledge, and
Hmm.
you're going to have your probie stuff, but we're going to help you through it. And we value, this is why you're here. That's what's the best part, is that when you go to the others department is now, especially as lateral, is they're hiring you now for a different set. They're not hiring you as being a completely green rookie that they have to
Yeah.
shape and mold. They're hiring you now for because they know that you have life experiences and skill sets, that you've done the work, that you've done these trainings, and that's what they're bringing you in for. Is because now they can get you where you need to be faster and quicker to get on those trucks and do the job,
Yeah.
and they're
And,
going to value
you
you for
know,
that.
absolutely. And, Mike, one thing that I kind of realized when I, finally made the decision to leave my old department, I was at a point in my career where I was ready to be challenged. And, I don't at all mean for that to sound arrogant or that like I was just the best guy at my old department, because that's not the case. But again, going back to the culture over there, I did kind of feel like I was always the one that was having to push these new ideas, these new tactics, these new ways of doing things. And, you know, being a relatively new full-time guy, I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be pushed. I wanted, you know, people coming to me and being like, hey, man, you need to work on this. You need to work on this. Hey, we as a department are going to start doing this. We need you to, step it up over here. Um, because I just felt like I needed that at that point in my career to kind of keep me on that path of growth. Um, but the kind of going back to the anxieties of moving departments, going back to being a probie was one of the big ones, right? Like, man, I'm in a position now, I'm old department, where I can pretty much do whatever I want. I have found my groove, and
Hmm.
I kind of do my own thing. And the idea of going to a new department and having to be a probationary firefighter was scary, and it was uncomfortable, and uh, it brought me anxiety at times, thinking that I was going to have to do that. Um, but man, I've loved that process of being able to do that again with the knowledge and experience that I had already gained.
Yeah.
Um, because not only, was it humbling having to come back into a new department where I don't know most of the people. Most of the people don't know me. Um, and it just gives you an opportunity to prove yourself, and like prove that you're there for the right reasons and that you want to be a valuable asset. And it kind of cultivates a really interesting sharpening of leadership skills, knowing your place on that totem pole at that department, but still trying to find ways to um, influence people and encourage people without coming across as, all this, this new guy friggin' thinks he knows everything, and he's just going to come in here and try to change the way we do things. And it's just been I have appreciated that process, um, from a leadership side of things,
Yeah.
you know, um, being able to find ways to influence and affect things from that level.
I thoroughly
Um,
enjoyed my time as a probie.
yeah,
I felt like same thing with you. I really it was I it felt better the second time around. I really enjoyed it with the people I had to work with, but I really appreciated the experience more so of being more in tuned into the fire service. And now knowing what it's supposed to be, because when I was
yep,
doing it, I was told what it's supposed to be, and I believed it. And and as I got older into the fire service, I went, wow, this really isn't what it's supposed to be. And then
right,
when I got to the new department, like I now know what I'm supposed to be. How the biggest one is how you're supposed to be treated. That was the biggest thing I took from being a new probie in my new department was I now know how I want to be treated and how you're supposed to be treated.
hmm,
Because before it was like, no, you're supposed to be treated this way and you're going to accept it.
yep,
And then I realized that this is not right. The second time around, I'm like, all right, I now know I've got that life experience that I'm not going to let people treat me the way I was treated before.
yep,
And I haven't, and it's been great. And that's the whole experience. Like I was happy to scrub a toilet. I was happy to mop the floors. I was happy to do whatever a probie needed to do. And I still
yep.
do it to this day because it's what we're supposed to do, and I'm proud to do it. But man, it's a humbling experience doing a second time around, especially
No
in
doubt.
your mid 40s.
Yep. No, it's a very unique experience, and I really would encourage anybody who, is kind of feeling like their time at their current department is running out. Um, Acknowledge and accept the fact that your brain is going to tell you things and try to convince you of things to stay comfortable. Um, but man, that's just not where the growth comes from. And truly 99% of what we worry about just it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. And if you never take that step to move departments, you're just going to get stuck in that cycle of toxicity and complacency. And when you do
And
get
then you become the person you don't want to be.
a
I
thousand
was
percent,
right. Like you become what you were. You were becoming what you resented. You're
yep,
becoming what you preach against. And that was literally what was happening with me. And I'm very open about it. Like I was a shit in my previous department.
hmm,
I was a very angry and bitter person. I became what I didn't want to become.
yep,
And, people talk about like, well, you got to fix it. You got to mow your own grass. Absolutely. And people talk about this in nausea. And I firmly believe though, you do need to try to fix it in your own house first. Just don't because things didn't go your way, then leave. But you do have to put in the effort of looking outside yourself, reflection, making sure, am I the problem or are they the problem? Or are we just not going to work together? But
hmm,
you have to plant the seed. You have to grow the grass and cut it. But if you're, like
sure,
I said before, if you're mowing that grass and all you're doing is creating a dead spot because you're not fixing it and the grass is dying, it's time to move on. But like you said, you also don't want to dedicate so many years of your life and just going around in a circle and creating that
right,
dead spot.
to where
You gotta
you
move on.
yeah, to where you become that slug. And
Yeah.
to your point, that that is one thing that I find so valuable about going out and meeting like-minded individuals. Um, you know, like guys like you, guys like Kevin Pfluger, Tom Hollick, um, all of those people that you can call and say, "Hey, man, this is what I'm going through. Here's kind of what I'm thinking." Um, and just being able to have that guidance from people, uh, again, like people who have experienced those things and people who care enough about you to give you the honest truth.
Hmm.
Um, having those types of relationships and mentors and friends, um, is priceless those when you encounter those types of situations.
Yeah,
Being able to pick up the phone and get that advice is huge. And I
absolutely.
mean, I would just encourage everybody to, again, that's just one more plus to going out and going to trainings and conferences. Like there are so many valuable things that can come from just putting yourself out there and meeting people, because you will come across somebody who is going to be instrumental in your life, whether it's like one conversation you have with them or those weekly conversations that you have with them of encouragement and guidance and advice. Um, because like we all know it, man, like it can be a tough world, a tough life to navigate, as a first responder. And I'm not trying to sound like a victim or anything like that, but like it's different. Um, for us, for our families, for our friends,
Yeah.
um, and being able to have that group of people around you who understand and who know what you're going through, man, it's priceless.
It really is. It's key, man. And I've been hearing conversations, in all the social media feeds and stuff. And there's people like, well, if you only hang out with like-minded individuals or what they want you or things, they're just going to tell you what you want to hear. You're never going to grow, or you're avoiding the truth, or, you need to hear from people that aren't like you and not like, I was thinking about that. It's like, why would I want to hang out or hear or talk to people that I don't like, or
Mm,
that I believe in, like we talked earlier before we started recording, that we need to hear we need to hear the truths. But that's
yep.
where good friends come from, though. Like, you're not just gonna have a friend who's like, yeah, you put on a dress, or you say, I'm sorry, you put on a suit, right? And it's the most ugliest suit ever. And that friend's gonna be like, man, you look like a rock star in that, man. Like,
Yeah.
you are awesome looking. No, I want a friend to be like, nope, dude, you look stupid in that,
Yep.
but like they're gonna be honest with you, but like, hey, man, I like where you're going with it. Let me show you some other side. Let me show you some other styles that maybe it's going to make you look cool. But,
Sure.
those are friends that are going to give you the honest truth and not send you out in a bad looking suit. But they're going to say like, no,
Hmm.
man, you need a different suit. So it's okay to hang out with like-minded individuals, just as long as like when you ask them a question in life, they're going to give you an honest answer. If you screw up in life, you do something wrong or stupid, and it's dumb. Like, I've had situations going on right now with me, and I had to reach out to people and go, here's what happened. Please tell me like what's going on. Please give me some truth. I don't want to hear you
Right.
sugarcoat it. And for them to go like, yeah, man, I would have used better judgment in that, or like, that was a stupid idea. And I'd be like, that's why I wanted to talk. That's why I needed to talk with you, because you are
Right.
giving me real truth. I don't need
And
you to sugarcoat it.
I think it's also important to understand that just because somebody is like-minded doesn't necessarily mean that that's one of those people that you can count on for those real conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that there's guys out there that view the fire service the same way as I do, and they're going to trainings and pushing themselves to be the best fireman that they could be. But outside of the fire service, our views couldn't be any different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, in my opinion, it's not just about finding like-minded individuals. Um, it's about finding those people that, with or without the fire service, you would go to them for advice, um, because they're out there, and there's good people in the fire service, and being able to tell the difference between
Yeah.
just a like-minded individual and a valuable friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you want to seek the advice from people who've already lived it, right?
Right.
I mean, I think that's what's so helpful is the group that we have, that you and I are part of, all these people that we know, is because they've lived some of the hardest things they've had to go through in life, and they've come out better
Yeah.
on the other end. So we can go to them and go, instead of talking to someone who goes, you have no idea what I'm going through, and they're like, yeah, you're right, I have no idea, but continue. They're going to listen to you, but they can't really
Yeah.
give you solid advice. But
Sure.
the people that we are friends with, they're like, yeah, I've been in your shoes, and let me tell you how I got through it. That
Mm,
helps a lot, because now it's relatable, and they're not going to blow smoke up your ass. They're going to tell you straight up, like, this is why this happened to me, and I don't want this to happen to you. So here's some friendly and good advice that I hope that you will listen to.
Yeah.
So it pays dividends to have that core group. But like you said, it helps a lot to get out of your comfort zone and go to other places for trainings and meet and see other people. And you really develop a very good core of good, solid people that you can start counting on. And you especially if you go more than once, you start going to a lot more of these trainings, you're going to develop skills, but you're just going to meet the most amazing people that
Yeah.
truly care about you.
And, kind of just, I guess, to say one more thing about this topic, for me personally, that in really the past 6 months has really made a huge difference in my life and my career and my family life is um, bringing my family with me.
Mm,
And I'm incredibly grateful and have been incredibly blessed to have been allowed to start coming around with the daggum guys because they value family so much, right? And uh, Kevin does such a good job of making our classes, our trainings completely open to spouses, to kids, and um, I've been able to bring my wife and daughters out to classes, and they just come hang out. And you know, uh, Kevin will typically walk around with the spouses and kids and explain what's going on, and walk them around as guys are doing drills and um, not sugarcoating anything, and explaining to, really for my daughters, like explaining like, hey, so at this drill over here, this is what would happen if, your dad came up and this was going on. And for me, like, it's kind of taken away a lot of the mystery that has surrounded for my daughters what it means when dad goes to work,
hmm
right? Because I obviously don't just come home and give my 11 and 7-year-old daughters a complete rundown on my shift, right? Like
Right.
that
Yeah.
would not be a good thing for me to do as their dad. Um, so a lot of it was a mystery to them. What does dad really do at work? Um, what does it mean for him to be a fireman? Um, and before they started getting involved and coming around these things and being around people like I have been lucky enough to be surrounded by, um, I learned that they had a good amount of like anxiety and wonder about my job. And they
Yeah.
would get anxious when I leave because they didn't really know what it meant and they didn't really know what that looked like. Um, so I guess I say all that to say, like, if you can, when you can, get your family involved, bring them out there. Um,
Yeah.
don't feel weird having your family come up to the firehouse. Like it, the fire service can be can be difficult for our families at home.
Yeah.
Man, like bring them in, let them meet the spouses of your crew. Let your kids meet your crew members' kids. Um, so that they can have that connection because we have each other,
Yeah.
right? Um, but if I never bring my wife Jessica around and she doesn't meet other fire spouses and stuff like that, like I'm not doing her any good by keeping her completely separated from my job because it's not a regular job.
Yeah.
It's a job that affects your entire life,
Yep.
and I just think I have been very lucky getting involved with people like yourself and the guys in our Dagum cadre to kind of help me navigate that and emphasize the importance of your family in the fire service. It's a very important thing in my opinion.
100%. I'm glad. I love that you hit on that because it is so true, and we talk a lot about it. We say faith, family, fire, and it's incredibly important to really actually drive that home and do it. And I love seeing more. Actually, I see a lot more families at these training events, and I love seeing the kids. I love seeing the wives take part of it, put on
Yeah.
gear, see what we're doing. Like again, I was just at Great Lakes Hot and watching the spouse tracks and wives getting gear and do forcible entry, and they're part of the search for the evolutions. It was really cool
Yeah.
to see, and for them to actually bond and talk about what they just did. It's badass, man. It's just it's so welcoming. It's so heartwarming to see everyone take interest in what each other is doing in life, and
Yeah.
it plays a lot. It helps to develop that bond and the trust in what we do, and that they see that we're training. It's not just fun either. It's training. It's hard work, but we're doing it because we're trying to come back safe. So we're doing these
Yep.
training events, and I love seeing that. So also we're winding down. There was other things we want to talk about, so I didn't want to run out of time too much, but um, we were talking earlier, and it was something I really wanted to talk with you about. We were going back and forth. A big event that happened recently in your life since we recorded, and it was just last year, and you had the floods that came through Texas, and we talked back and forth about wanting you to discuss it. And we were talking about the reason why you felt it was actually really good to talk about this is because there's other people that have been part of traumatic events that it's good
Mm-hmm.
to talk about. We talk about the bad leadership. We talk about changing departments, and it's good to be able to hear these stories. But we also have the traumatic stories that some people are afraid to talk about. And I hate to use the word afraid, but they feel reluctant to talk about
Sure.
because it's something that's still kind of taboo, and but also that they feel like they don't know if they're the only ones feeling these things. So you
Yeah.
were a part of the floods last year, and you had some big stuff happen during those times. Can you tell me
Yeah.
some things?
Yeah. And I'm gonna try my best to get through this without getting emotional.
Absolutely, bro.
uh,
Absolutely.
but you used the word afraid and then kind of took it back. But that's a pretty good descriptive word for how I had been feeling about sharing this stuff with you on the show, because you and I have been talking about it for a while now,
Hmm.
and there were times where I would push back because I just didn't feel like I was ready. I didn't want to, whether it was like I didn't want to relive it or I didn't want to get emotional or like whatever. But afraid is a good word to describe it. I'll just say that up front. Um, but yeah, so last year, um, July 4th, I was not on shift. Um, I woke up at home and I got a phone call from a really close friend of mine who I used to volunteer with at a volunteer department. He was actually one of the firemen that was on the water rescue call that we discussed last time I was on the show. Um, he calls me, and I didn't know anything about what was going on in Kerrville at the time. And he was just like, "Hey, man, uh, Kerrville's getting hit with crazy rains right now. It's flooding. Um, I'm going to go down there to see if I can help. Do you want to go with me?" And I was just, like, "Yeah, man, like if you're going, I'm going." Um, I called up my chief at the time, and again, he was always super great to me, and he offered up some Swiftwater gear from the department for me to take, and wished me good luck and gave me kind of minimal gear, but he gave me what they had, and um, I headed down to Kerrville, really not knowing the extent of what was going on. I didn't get on my phone. Uh, my chief made mention to me that there were a couple of girls missing from a camp, but that's really kind of the extent of what I knew. And I made the hour and a half, 2 hour drive down there, and man, uh, it was shocking to pull up to. I mean, there's helicopters flying everywhere. There's fire trucks from all over the place, ambulances from all over the place, and I'm just kind of like, oh, geez, what is going on? Um, we had kind of figured out via scanning apps and listening to the radio traffic where the command central system was, and we made our way to this church. and we were kind of having a hard time getting hooked up with the right people. And, we wanted to be helpful and we wanted to get involved, but it was kind of difficult there. So we made the decision to go a few miles down the road, and we pulled into a local VFD down there. Man, we pulled into the parking lot, walked in, and basically just walked up and said, "Hey, this is who we are. How can we help you guys?" And immediately they were like, "Please come in. Thank you." They gave us structure gear. They gave us a brush truck. And this is still really early on in the development of everything. So to be honest, like, it was very chaotic. Um, and we kind of got briefed on the gravity of the situation. Um, we were told about all of the kids that were stuck out at the Camp Mystic, and we're given multiple neighborhoods that hadn't been searched yet. Um, and we really just kind of got turned loose to go do what we could. And it was a long day. Um, I would really rather not get into like a whole lot of like the individual, rescues and
Of
stuff
course.
like that. But um, man, it was a tough day looking back on it. But I made a post the other day, kind of explaining it, and how while we were there, you kind of just enter that zone of like task at hand, and you're kind of able to like detach from the emotions of everything and just do what you need to do, which is good. Um, but if you stay in that mindset for too long, I think that it can be a negative thing for your mental health. And um, that's kind of what happened uh, when I was driving home. Um, I don't even remember if I called my wife or I just texted her and just told her I was headed home. And like, I just cried, dude.
Yeah.
um, and it's still pouring down rain, and just like, golly, just, everything kind of hit me at once. What we just experienced, what I just saw, and just the overall sadness of that event. Um, and I get home. Um, I got home pretty late, tried to get some sleep, and man, the next morning at about 6:30, I got a phone call from my fire chief at the time, and he's just like, "Hey, man, I need you to come into work." So I drive in and I meet him at the firehouse. We have our crew who's on duty at the time, and he pulls up and he's like, "Hey, Eric, I need you to get in my truck with me. We're going to Marble Falls." So we start driving to Marble Falls, and he informed me that Chief Phillips had gone missing um, early that morning. And Chief Phillips was the chief of Marble Falls area fire department. Was primarily a volunteer, but had recently kind of turned into a combination department. Um, and early that morning, as he was responding to a motor vehicle accident, he was unaware of the extent of rain that we had gotten that night. And man, he came around the corner of a country highway, and water was up way higher than it's ever been before. And
Mm.
um, it swept his vehicle away. And I'm hearing all of this from my chief, um, who had been friends with Chief Phillips for most of his life. And I worked for Chief Phillips part-time. Um, so it was just kind of you know, kind of just pop back into that task at hand mindset of like,
Sure.
okay, cool. I'll think about yesterday's stuff later. How are we going to solve this problem? And man, it was wild. Um, everybody everybody came together, and we spent weeks weeks out there looking for Chief. Um, I really don't think we could have done anything else.
Yeah.
Um, and it's, it's tough kind of accepting that we still haven't found him. Um, but in a time like that, it's I've just been trying to like lean into my faith of, I know that God has a plan, and I know that he's got reasons for things working out certain ways. And um, I may not understand that reason why we weren't able to find Chief Phillips or why he was swept away in the first place, but I'm going to have faith that um, somewhere out there somebody knows the reason, or somebody's going to find out the reason. That, and I just have faith that it's part of the plan, and maybe I'm not supposed to understand it. Um, so that went on, like I said, for about 2 weeks. We're just out there every day, walking, flying helicopters, dogs. I mean, everything. Um, and in the process of all of that, I was trying to move my family from Marble Falls to New Braunfels, and I just wasn't myself, man. Like I I was having trouble operating at the capacities that I needed to operate at for my family, for myself. Um, so it got to a point in the search and rescue efforts where I kind of had to pull back a little bit. Um, and I think one of the biggest things I learned, I guess, that I want to share is I spent the next 360 days not talking to the guys that I went through all of that with
Mm.
about what we went through. Um, we just and it's got nothing to do with those guys, or um, we just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And about 3 days ago, one of them texted our group, and man, it was just like the most encouraging. It was sad, but it was encouraging, because in that moment, man, like, and the past 11 months, I kind of slipped into a mindset of like I was the only one experiencing that. And saying it out loud feels very selfish and very arrogant. But like it's true, and that's what I was feeling. Um, and then I get this text from my buddy Kyle, and he just acknowledged the elephant in the room, and he was like, "The past couple days have been tough, and the next couple weeks are going to be as tough. And I love you guys, and I'm proud that we did what we did, and you know, let me know if you need anything." Um, and he just kind of broke that glass, and it was a relief for me to remember that other people are going through this.
Hmm.
And him sending me that message prompted me to send a message to my lieutenant. And because I was on shift July 3rd and July 4th, it prompted me to message my lieutenant and just kind of prep him a little bit. And I was like, "Hey, man, I just want to give you a heads up. Like, I think I might have a rough couple of days. And I think there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to be off this shift. So I just want to let you know. And he, I, he could not have been more welcoming and understanding. Um, and man, like on day one, I, I really kind of hit a low, and I just like broke down in the middle of the day at work.
Mm.
And, man, it was just the coolest thing. My entire crew came up to me and they were like, "Hey, dude, can we pray for you?" And
Wow.
we all sat there and they prayed over me and they all hugged me and just gave me that reassurance of like, dude, if you need anything, like we're here for you, whether you want to talk about it, whether you don't want to talk about it, just know that we love you, we're here for you. And man, it was just in that moment, like for me personally, I'm going to do my best moving forward when I am struggling with something like that to share it with those that I trust. Because having going through that shift, knowing that the guys on my crew were in tune with that and were looking out for me, and that they like, I knew that they cared about me and they supported me.
Mm.
Um, man, like have those conversations with the people around you. Um, don't be afraid to let people know when something's bothering you, because different things bother different people. It could be what what you think is a very run of the mill call. Man, I could have seen something in that house that just struck me to my core and really bothered me. Or I could have heard a spouse say something that, just absolutely broke my heart.
Yeah.
And, having the confidence to share that stuff with the people around you that that care about you, it's just so crucial, man. Like
Everybody carries their pain differently, right?
100%.
It's compartmentalized. Some people are able to hold it all in, but then of course we all know that all of a sudden it gets to a reaching point where you can only hold so much water in that bucket until it spills over, and we can't keep up with that bucket anymore. And
Yeah.
it's amazing that your crew saw that, and I love that they actually wanted to pray with you and give you comfort.
Yeah.
And with everything that went on, did you seek out, or did anyone help you with seeking a therapist or speaking to somebody?
Yeah, man. And like that just goes back to the people that you surround yourself with, right? Like um, I think it was the day after I finally got my family moved into our new house. I get a phone call from Tom Hollick, and up to that point, I hadn't really told him, like what I had been experiencing, but he had kind of heard and like knew what was going on, and um, he calls me and he was just like, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know." And it was a longer conversation than this, but the gist of it was like, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know that I reached out to our 100 club and I got them to agree to sponsor you um, to go to this first responder therapist if you want. I'm not going to push anything on you, but I just want you to know that it's there, it's been paid for, and I didn't even work for Cibolo at this time,
Wow.
so that county really they had no obligation to take care of me, but
Yeah.
Tom, being a stand up individual in that community, when he went to them and he was like, "Hey, man, I've got a friend that could use some help." They took his word for it and they sponsored me. And then they went even further to sponsor my oldest daughter, um, who really, she struggled a lot with that time period. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, Tom, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's, like we said earlier, when you surround yourself by people that know that they're there for you, and they truly care, it speaks dividends. And it's
yeah,
hard to really, if you've never experienced it, especially when you've experienced people that have wronged you so much in your life. And then when you're around people that actually just genuinely care about you and do things without even having to ask, because they know you need it. It's an amazing feeling. And
yeah,
you just don't even know how to respond sometimes. Because honestly, I think for me, my knee jerk reaction is like, no, I don't need it. I'm good.
yep,
And they're like, no, no, you do need this, you know, because again, they've been in certain situations where they can relate to you with it. Because
hmm,
we know like Tom has been in those situations,
yep,
and Nate Stern, another one who's been in a situation where he's very open about the things that he's dealt with in life. And he
yep,
talks about it. And when you have a person like that reach out to you and go, hey, brother, I know you need this help and I'm here for
hmm,
you. Like it just speaks volumes about people that they go out of their way to help you. Because I'm sure it can be overwhelming though, too, man. Like when you've dealt with something like now, not just so horrific, but it's gained so much media attention.
yeah,
Now you have a whole bunch of people. Hey, I'm here for you. Hey, if you need anything? Hey, if you need to talk, it's just all coming at you.
yeah,
And now you're just like, no, 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 I don't want to talk to anybody right now. You're just gonna start shutting down because it's overwhelming. And now
yep,
you can't literally go into your own hole and just try to take inventory of what just happened, because now everybody has good intentions, but now everybody just wants to be that person to be there for you.
yeah. And I tried everything I could to, um, avoid those conversations. But Tom didn't try to shoot me a text and see if I would reply. He called me and told me what I needed. And I mean, same thing with Kevin. I mean, for Kevin showed up on my front porch
Wow.
and gave my wife a hug and gave my daughters a hug and gave me a hug. And, I, he wouldn't, they wouldn't let me retreat back into that isolation. Because they know better. They know that that's where the enemy wants you, you know? Um, so they stepped in on my behalf and came to help. And I'll probably never be able to repay them for that, but I definitely will have my eyes open to hopefully be that for somebody in the future.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that this right there is that those things that they do is because they love and care for you, and it's not about paying anybody back. And like you just
yeah,
said, the best thing you do is pay it forward. That's what
for
they
sure.
want, and that's I think what makes people so solid is that when they're paying that forward, when they got that random act of kindness and they're going to give it to somebody else, that makes that first person who gave you that gift, that's what makes them happy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dude,
no, no doubt.
it's an amazing it's an amazing story of human kindness, of what you've gotten with your friends, but also just a horrific story what you had to see and deal with, and especially losing someone so close. But it as we talked before we started recording, that this is really is beneficial for people who are out there who have dealt with these horrific events, that it is okay to talk, that it's okay to also say, hey, I there's too many people reaching out to me right now. I can't deal with it.
Hmm.
Like I can't handle all of this. But when you know you've got those close friends, like, no, I'm going to help you along, and that's those ones you can trust. And those are the ones that.
Yep.
I'm not saying we don't trust the other people, but to be able to have people who know you personally go, no, I'm telling you, you're gonna need this. And so
Yeah.
you went to the Club 100, um, and did it help a lot?
It did. I th- I think if I had to do it all over again, if I'm being completely honest with you, Mike, I would have maybe waited a little bit longer,
Mhm.
um, before I went and talked to somebody. Not a whole lot longer, but I mean, I went like the next week,
Mm.
and I was still just so wound up and exhausted and emotional, that I feel like I probably could have walked away with a little more from the therapist.
That makes sense.
Um, but again, here we are a year later, and I've had those conversations again with these people close to me of, um, hey, maybe it's time to go back, you know, um, and that's absolutely something that I'm on the path to do. But
That's a good point, though, of you didn't have time to process it.
mhm,
Everything's just so raw that you don't even have time to, like you said, you're still exhausted from the whole event and working so hard. They didn't have time to actually sit down and again, and take inventory of what everything you just saw and went through. You needed like a moment to a couple days, a week, whatever your brain's like now. All right. I think once you get to that tired phase, like now I'm exhausted,
yeah,
and then the adrenaline's weared off and now you're feeling those emotions. Like you said, that's probably when it's starting to like, yeah, I need to talk to somebody now.
yep, no doubt.
Yeah. It's
But
tough because you never like, how do you do it? Cause you've never been through it before. This,
yeah,
that's the tough
yeah,
part. Like,
truly,
it's great that you mentioned that for anybody else who's listening. This is why these conversations are really so important. Is that you're saying right there, man, I wish I would have waited a little bit longer, because then I would have been ready to talk and really absorb what they're trying to tell me. But my
mhm,
brain is still trying to process everything right now that I can't listen to this person who's trying to help me.
yep, no, for sure. And really another thing that I just want to reiterate, one of the things that like I really just want people to remember and try to do if they experience something like that or not like that, but it bothers you and it starts affecting your mental health, man, share that with people before it gets to the point where people start noticing and coming to you and asking you like, hey, what's wrong? Hey, what's wrong? Um, find those people that you love and that you trust and that you respect and say, hey, um, I've kind of been, struggling with this. I don't necessarily think it's going to affect my performance, but I just want to let you know that this is going on in my mind and in my life. Um, I'm not expecting anything from you. I just wanted to share it with you. So then as soon as if they do see a a difference in your behavior or your performance or something, they they've already kind of thought of how they're going to approach that, and it in I just don't think it'll be as abrasive of a conversation. It's not just like, dude, what's your problem? You know, why are you acting so weird? Why haven't you said anything all day?
Yeah.
They'll know what you're going through, and man, just share it with people, share it
It's
with your
amazing
family.
that you said that, dude. It really is because, again, like we talked about, like I have been going through some stuff, and my boss could tell at work, like, hey, are you okay? Because you're not yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just in my head. He's like, yeah, you're definitely not. You're really quiet. And I
Mhm.
was doing things wrong at work. I was so in my head. I made simple, stupid mistakes I normally don't do. And my lieutenant was really good about it. He's like, hey, you normally don't make those mistakes. Are you okay? And I was honest with him, like, no, I'm in my head right now. I got stuff going on that it's hard for me to concentrate. He's like, yeah, I can tell. But it's great though when you do have people that are understanding and they know that you're not that kind of person.
Mhm.
And they can say that, like, hey, I know you're like Johnny on the spot. This is not you. Like, you want to talk? Or that's really cool for you. Like you said, you don't want to get to that point, or at least let people know, but at the same time where they're comfortable enough to say, like, you're a really good top performer and this is not you.
Mhm.
For them to be able to actually really have those conversations with you without you even having, like, you're already beating yourself down enough because you've already know that
Right.
you screwed up, because that's how we care about our performance at work. So we're going to beat ourselves up. And now, when you're in your head, people see it because you're not enjoying your work. You're not enjoying your life. And it's the employee, your officers and chiefs actually truly care. They will see it. It's
Yep.
the ones who don't care that literally walk right past you and go, oh, Mike's sulking again.
Yep.
or right. That those are the ones that like they don't want to acknowledge it. It's the ones that actually care about you and see that you're a good person and a really good employee. And you're like, no, man, we're gonna talk because
Hmm.
there's something obviously bothering you. And that's what I try to preach a lot. And I think that's what we all want people to just understand, that like, if you do see someone struggling, you can talk to them. It's okay. It's going to help. Like, but you, like just said, like you gave them the pre-warning, like, hey, I'm going through some things. So please be patient with me.
Hmm.
Like that takes some guts right there.
Yeah, man, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. It's going to make, because I was nervous about going into shift.
I
Like
bet.
I was. Um, even before having that conversation, I was like, "Geez, man, like, how is this thing going to surface?" I've intentionally not thought about this time last year, but I know it's going to surface. How is it going to surface? Is it going to be noticeable? Is it not? So I just made the decision. I was like, I'm just going to tell my guys, and if it doesn't surface in a noticeable way, great. But if it does, I'll immediately have that support network there at work when I don't have my normal, you know, my wife or my brothers or whatever. Like, I know my guys are there to take care of me, and you just you just got to have those conversations, man. It's so worth just putting aside your pride and having that conversation and admitting like, hey, I'm sad or I'm nervous. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm still going to give you 110%.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice me being off, you're right. And this is why.
Yep.
Um, man, it's just, it can be tough. Obviously, it can be uncomfortable, but not any more uncomfortable than burying it and just struggling with it inside your own mind.
Yeah.
Because going back to what we talked about at the very beginning, your mind will fight against you if you let it, and you just can't, especially
Absolutely.
with that stuff, man.
Absolutely, dude. And I
It'll break
appreciate
you
you being,
down.
it will break you down. And like you said, like the crying part too, like, we're men and we're supposed to not show emotion, but I'm telling you, like, you got to get a good cry in sometimes too, because
Yeah,
it legitimately is a scientific fact about when you cry, it's releasing things to actually make you feel better.
yeah,
All the things that start releasing, it starts making you, it's like a natural painkiller. It's like a mood enhancer, and it actually will start improving your mood because when we cry, like we're wiping everything away and snot and everything else, but then
mm-hmm,
you feel calm.
yeah,
You start taking those cleansing breaths, and all of a sudden you're like, whew, man, I needed that, because your body's
yeah,
telling you need to get this out. Like you have, it's literally toxins that are built up inside of you that
yeah,
you need to get out. And so when you release that, you're releasing those toxins as well. And it's so beneficial. It's just that big stress reliever, and it's out of you. So for the guys to say, well, I don't cry, I guarantee you do need a good cry. And it's going to be
yeah,
so beneficial emotionally and physically for you. And that's why we do need to talk to people, where it's a therapist, whether it's brothers and sisters that you trust, but especially when you're dealing with something that's just, it's eating you up inside. Like, um, again, the mental health of it will eat you up, and it will tear apart things you enjoy.
yeah,
And like I've said, like I've been dealing with stuff myself, and I go to a therapist and I weekly now, and I talk to her about a lot of things. And one of the things I brought up, like all of a sudden I was inside my own head again, and I was at the gym. I couldn't stop crying. I had to go to the bathroom, and I just literally broke down inside into the bathroom. I had to pull myself together to finish my workout. It just hit me.
mm-hmm,
So, I mean, I say these things not to sound weak, but it's important that we all understand that we're all going through emotions. And
yeah,
especially when we deal with horrific things, we compartmentalize it and we put it back in our brain. And all of a sudden something, like you said, triggers it. You know, it's going to be this day that you're going to get a trigger. And that's why some guys and girls, they take a day off. If they know there's an anniversary of a certain thing that bothers them, they won't come into work because they know
yeah,
something's going to trigger them. So either they'll take the day off and do something to ease their pain, or they might take the day off, go see the therapist, and then do something that's going to not have to worry about, breaking down at work.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of
Yeah.
ways
And
to deal with those.
yeah. Yeah. Man, don't be afraid to cry, and don't be afraid to hug your boys, man. Like, my lieutenant came into my room and just like, he just said, "Come here, man," and like gave me just a good hug, and
Mm.
it felt good, and it just, yeah, all that like
Mhm.
macho stuff, man. Like, it's cool and it's fun every once in a while, but man, it's our duty to take care of each other and to love each other and to look out for each other, and not let that, you know, machismo BS that is expected out of us. Like, man, we have to do some bad shit sometimes, and we see some bad shit. Like, accept that, and if you need to cry, cry. If you need to freaking give your buddy a hug because you know that he's going through it, go give him a hug.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that more beneficial than having the employee assistance program pushed on me.
Yep.
I want to talk to people that really have gone through the same pain that I have gone through, and people that I respect and people that I look up to. Like you just said, if somebody came up to me and gave me one of those big old hugs, that's going to be way better than the therapy session that I had to sit there for an hour.
No
So
doubt.
it again, it's hard to really put into words and describe it, but that warmth that comes over you when you have somebody that just comes up to you and just wants to embrace you and tell you that everything's gonna be all right. We still need it.
Yeah,
We might be men, but we're human, and we need
absolutely.
that. We need to be comforted as well. So it's huge. And Eric, I appreciate you with being so open and raw about your experiences and what you've dealt with. And I think it's so beneficial for others to hear these stories, to hear about our lives, whether it's, you're dealing with bad leadership at work or you're dealing with horrific events such as these. We don't have to go into the dirty details, but just let people know that it's okay to hurt. It's okay
Yeah,
to feel vulnerable, and that we do have weaknesses in life, and to talk about them. And if you have friends that have gone through those, reach out to them and use them. They're there. They want you to reach out to them and talk with them. That's why we
yeah,
call them brothers.
exactly.
So
Exactly. And if someone helps you the way, that so many have helped me, like, again, like you said, they're not doing it so that you pay them back, but the best way you can pay them back is just keep your eyes open and use your experiences to help other people and be there for other people, and just pay it forward. We've got to look out for each other, man.
amen, brother. Absolutely. I love that. And also with the shirt that you're wearing, I'll give them a shout out because we got Next Rung. Speaking of mental health, I do like when we talk about a lot of these things, I always love to give a shout out to Next Rung and what all they're doing. So when we talk about people that you need to reach out to, these are some of the best people I feel that you can really reach out to. They do so much for so many people. So if you do need to talk to someone you don't know where to turn, you can text support to 833-698-7864. Again, text support to 833-698-7864. You can go to nextrung.org, and you can see what they're all about. Again, if you text that number, the 833-698-7864, someone will get back to you right away. They actually work in shifts. It's a nonprofit organization, and they will help you. They will give you a text back, and if you need a phone call, then you can start talking to them on the phone. If you need counseling, you can text counseling to 833-698-764. And also, if you have addiction, you need treatment, text treatment to the same number, 833-698-7864. They are here for you. Again, this costs you nothing. There's no judgment. They just want you guys to be better. And there's testimonials on their page. And I know a lot of guys and women that work with Next Rung that are on those phones here to help you guys out. So you don't have to go it alone. This is a really a great program that that Blake Stennett and Charlie Brown and the rest of the group worked so hard to develop, and they're constantly growing and doing great things. And I love that my man Eric here is representing Next Rung with the shirt there. So please visit their website. But especially if you are struggling in life and you need a number, that's the number. I'm going to say it one more time, 833-698-7864. Eric, as we wind down, is there anything that you want to say or help with others?
Man, I don't think so. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. I really do. It has been tough to think about coming on here and talking about that. And again, I know we've been talking about it for a while, you and I. But man, I'm really glad that we finally did. Just because nobody deserves to have to feel these things by themselves. And I would just want to like remind people that you're not alone. Man, when I got that text from my buddy the other day, it was just a sigh of relief. And if anybody needs to hear that, now you're not alone, man, shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll share more with you. I'm an open book. I'm more than happy to, listen to what anybody has to say or give advice, not give advice. Just don't try to do it by yourself, man. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to hug your boys. Um, we've all got to look out for each other, take care of each other, love on each other, because that's how we are going to, just like working out, just like training. When we have those conversations and we are vulnerable and we talk to each other and we support each other, that in itself makes us better firemen. It keeps us sharp to serve the people that we have sworn an oath to serve, just as much as getting out and doing gear workouts, getting in the gym and lifting weights, going out to outside trainings. All of those things will be meaningless if we're not good up here and in here.
Yes, sir.
Right. So just don't be afraid to share those types of things, and pick up the phone and call somebody if you know they're struggling, or share your struggles with somebody else. It's good for the soul, and you won't regret it, even though it's a little bit uncomfortable. So what? So are gear workouts, and we still do those. You know what I mean?
I love that, dude. What a great message. I love it. Thank you so much. So if anybody actually wanted to reach out to you, where and how can they reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook, Eric Wuensch. Last name is spelled Wuensch. Instagram is at Wuensch.Eric. Or you can probably look on the Daggum page and find me on there and follow it to my page. I'll give my cell phone number is 830-445-1032. If you want to shoot me a text, give me a call. Even if you don't know me, I'm more than happy to do what I can.
Love it, brother. Absolutely. And and potentially find you at some of the Daggum trainings that you guys have been busy with and hitting the road
yes,
hard
sir.
with those. And I'd love to see you part of that cadre. Great group of guys. So we'll have to talk more about that next time. But I love what you guys are doing for the training group as well. Daggum's been killing it. You guys have been doing great things, delivering a lot of good training all over, not just the Southwest, but pretty much everywhere. So I love seeing you guys do what you do and succeed, and love that you're part of this group, man. It's I know that you are very proud to be part of the Daggum cadre, and they have a great guy that you're doing it. They're very lucky to have you.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, if you happen to see me at a Daggum class, come give me a hug.
Yeah. Don't let Eric intimidate you. When I first met him, I was like, Jesus, this guy is a friggin' beast. And I was so afraid to actually start talking to you. And then once I started talking with you, I'm like, oh, this guy is awesome. What a cool guy. So you just never know who you meet with these events. And again, we have a core group of amazing friends from going to these events, such as Dadgum and Bears of the Oath. So please go to these training events. You're going to meet people like Eric, just a solid individual, just wants to help us all be better in the fire service. If you're looking for training events, there's a lot going on. Visit Dadgum's website, visit Bears of the Oath, visit Ambassadors of the Craft. You've got they'll also list where they're going for their trainings. There's just a slew of great training events going on. So please, actually coming up, we have First In Fire Conference that I'll be attending, and I'm excited to go there. And I mean, we're running out of time. I can go for an hour about listening to all these listing these events. So, but please go online, check out Dadgum, check out Bears of the Oath, the Bachelors of the Craft, and the plethora of others that they're out there as well. So, Eric, thank you so much, my friend, for being on the C.A.N Report. It's been an honor to have you on here again.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So with that being said, we all stay safe, be well, and nozzle top. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
For this podcast, do nozzle top, and you can get 20% off your order. So make sure you're visiting the energy drink or Brotherhood Buffs, and they'll take you to the link for the energy drink. Put in nozzle top, get that 20% off.